we're teaching, we're alive. We're like diamonds in the sky. Teach bright like a diamond.
The B in Shine Bright stands for bounce back and fail forward. I'm about to talk about some things that I do not talk about much, but we have to talk about it. Stay tuned for this week's gem.
You become great right away.
Here's something I don't talk about often, but it's important to talk about. My first major SPED failure, and note I said first. So at the beginning of every year, we have to make contact with our parents. We have to make sure that the IEP, and that means the individual education plan, the paperwork that comes with every student who has a diagnosable on paper disability, one of the 13, now 14 categories in the IDEA, Individuals with Disability in Education Act. So if they have one of those disabilities, they come with paperwork and they receive services. We have to make sure those services are in line with what we have at our school, or else we make sure that they get service outside of school, or maybe they go to another school who has that service. It is my job to make sure that it's in line because there's, you guessed it, money attached to every single student with a disability with an IEP that comes to any school. Because of that, we have to make sure that all the paperwork is correct, and that's your job. At the beginning, we have a meeting. We're like, all right, Diamond, you're in charge of these 13. You're in charge of those 14. So-and-so, you're in charge of those 13. You're in charge of those 15, whatever it is. We divvy it up evenly. And I have about the first month and a half to make sure all the paperwork is correct. In my head, I'm going through, making all these changes, got things done. Not so. Vice principal, of course, had to come from the principal. Principal goes to vice principal. Vice principal goes to the head of the special education department, tells them Diamond did not do her work. Diamond did not edit this paperwork, she didn't check the numbers, and now looks like that our students are getting more services than they actually are, which means our school is now receiving more money than it actually should, which means it looks like we're trying to steal federal funds. That's a big deal. Because of errors that I made on my paperwork, my school is now in a lot of trouble and has to account for, and I didn't actually know what else to figure out what to do with this money, but it was a big problem. I was told about this in the hallway, right? Semi-casual, like, oh, by the way, Diamond, you really messed up the paperwork. The bosses are gonna probably talk to you about it. Get ready. What? I did what? I messed what? Okay. All right. I don't have tenure. I'm freaking out. I could get fired for this. I could lose my job over this because this is a problem. This is a living legal document that I have made errors on by not updating it appropriately. Like the math is wrong. And now it looks like my school or my whole school full of felons. Like that's not cool. It makes my principal look bad. My vice principal look bad. The head of the department look bad. And my name is attached to this somehow, way, shape, or form. So I gotta figure out how to bounce back and fail forward. I knew even if the principal or vice principal didn't come to me, that I had to go to them. I couldn't just let it seem like, or make it think that I made a mistake and it didn't matter. I knew it mattered. I had integrity. I knew I was wrong. I went back, checked my paperwork. I wasn't doing the right thing. I had to own that. So I had a meeting with the vice principal, stuttering over him. I couldn't get a sentence out, I don't think. I just knew I had to have the conversation within 2 days. I knew that. Couldn't wait. Within about 2 days, I think I waited maybe to that second day, I had to own up and say, they told me what happened. I don't know how I messed it up. I thought I did the right thing. I didn't mean to. I don't want to. I'm so tears. They knew exactly what I was talking about. They explained that it was a problem. They also explained that they knew my heart. They knew I didn't do it on purpose, but there was an issue with my systems. And so after I was able to pick my face off the floor, pick the rest of my body off the floor, finish crying all of my tears because I felt like a failure. I felt inadequate. I felt ignorant and stupid. I felt like a thief. Like I felt irresponsible. All of these things because I failed. But I had to fail forward. So once I was able to deal with that, right, I bounced back by owning my mistake and hoping that I didn't get fired that year. But then I failed forward because I did fail. And the way I felt forward was to use the systems I used over the summer to keep up with the same type of paperwork nonsense, but to track it. I learned how to use an electronic dashboard. That's also a technique I teach you about in my book. An electronic dashboard that I create and color code using the same systems I'd learned at another job. The New York City Teaching Fellows has this system set up. I translated that to my work, and then to make sure that I was keeping contact and track of the things that I thought I did. So even though I thought I did it, me running my mouth was not enough. I had to do the paperwork afterwards. I had all those conversations. I didn't back it up with paperwork. Knowing my superpowers with a disc, right? I upped my systems, and then I upped them even more the next year because, again, I didn't want to make another mistake. Not only did I have my own system, I told myself, you need an accountability partner. So there was an IEP liaison. That's another position that the DOE has. But in general, now it's just another friend of mine in the same department. After I do something, I'm gonna check in with you to say that I did it. Or after I did something, if it's their job, right? If there's an IEP liaison job, you can say, check my work, check that document, make sure I didn't have any typos or miss any services or anything like that. Please check my work. So I have accountability partner, and I also have an electronic dashboard. I could go a step further and give my accountability partner access to that electronic dashboard so there's two sets of eyes and two conversations going back and forth to ensure that I'm on the right track. You will make a mistake. You will fail in this practice. And the way that you fail might be so big that it could cost you your job or cost student services or cost, your school to look bad in some way, shape, or form. But you have to bounce back and you have to fail forward. Fear not, shine bright. Have a wonderful, wonderful week.
Shine bright, teach right. You